Thank you. Is it working? Yes, it is. We have some problems with the microphones. Heather has brought us a little bit sidetracked to our core business, I would say, and I will try to bring us back to the real core business of FM for a while. I'm going to use this stand here. Reason is, of course, that someone made the effort to put it here, and nobody has used it so far. The secret reason is for me to have somewhere to place my notes, so that I can actually remember what I'm supposed to speak about here. Just setting the scene, I am, on behalf of a large Nordic bank, internally responsible for our FM deliveries. Now, the bank is based in Sweden. We operate in the Nordics. We serve about 10 million private customers and about 500,000 corporate customers. To do that, we are using 600,000 square meters of office space, divided between 20 HQ buildings and about 400 to 500 branches. I say 400 to 500 because the financial industry is really going down in retail branches, so I don't really know the number as we speak. We serve above 33,000 employees of the banks, and these employees of the banks I will from now on refer to as end users, and that is what I will use during this presentation. I've seen some very interesting presentation on this contract journey that we have been doing from former presenters, and we have actually done something like that. I'm quite glad that I don't have to compete with talking about that. But we were 30 years ago, the bank was completely in-house. We had our own carpenters, our own cleaners, and our own of everything. And we have transitionally, during the time, bit by bit, walked against outsourcing contract. We also had site-specific contracts, service lines contracts, but bit by bit, we have walked towards fully outsourced partnership contract. And the last one, or the one we're operating in right now, was signed in 2013. And for that contract, I am the IFM director. And it is together with this partner that we have in this partnership contract that we have looked upon and developed the touchpoints and the things that I'm going to talk about today. What is the purpose of the bank? Our CEO asks. And I think I can ask myself the same question. What is the true purpose of our, or my, FM delivery? Now, I'm speaking as an FM buyer for a company that's engaged in a totally other industry. This is banking in my case, but it could be any other industry. But this should also apply to all you FM providers here, as I really hope that you have a bigger and higher purpose than just creating revenue for your company, and that means bringing success to your FM buyers. So what is the purpose? We have heard it earlier, and I agree, and I confirm that our purpose must be to create value for the business that we are supporting. I don't mean to sell us short. Everyone needs walls and roofs and a functioning workplace. But I think we can create bigger and greater value than just walls, roofs, and a functional workplace. Could we actually be able to get to our FM buyers or users competitive advantages? Could we, through FM services, make them more efficient?
Exactly 20 minutes, so it was great.
And I see my contribution actually to provide a workplace and services that increases the end user's operational efficiency. So that is actually my purpose. And how do I achieve that? Our CEO has a vision around personalizing our offering to the individual customer. He's realized that we can increase our value for customer if we can adjust our products to their individual needs. We work, of course, hard to keep those products efficient by having a platform, and then we alternate, do simple steps to individualize the products. Now, I think this should be applicable also for FM deliveries, to make our delivery more supporting to the individual end user and thereby increase her efficiency. So, how do we increase efficiency through end-user centricity? Well, our approach is that if the end user are happy with their working environment and feels that they have the right prerequisites to do their job well, they are probably efficient. Or at least I have succeeded in my job. I have not found out how facility management can make them smarter or faster yet. So my conclusion is that great end user experience creates efficiency in the business we're supporting. And if I think that end user experience is so important, maybe I should stop to look at our deliveries from a traditional service line perspective. Now, service line's perspective could, of course, optimize a single service line, but it at the same time risks sub-optimizing the holistic view of our end user. So we actually need to apply an end user centricity perspective on all our services. I was in January traveling from a vacation, and I passed through a transit in Narita, Tokyo airport. Now, the plane was late in, and I was at the domestic terminal, and I needed to go to the international terminal. That's a 45-minute transition at best. I had 25 minutes. And I'm pretty sure that the transfer check-in, the buses, the security, the passport control, and all of that, they are optimized for their services to get as many people as quick as possibly through that. Now, that wouldn't help me. But you know what happened? A small cart came in with a girl, and she just picked me up, and she took me through a special way through all of these checks. And I made it in 15 minutes. Now, of course, this isn't applicable to all. You can't change the situation like that for all end users. But it shows that giving another focus can create another result, and a good one for me at that time at least. So how should we then look at our services from an end user perspective? Well, how do they look at our services? How do the end user look at our services? Well, probably never from a service line or a delivery process perspective. I say they look at it from whatever position or situation they are in at that particular moment. If I'm in a meeting, what's important for me now? What do I need to experience now? I'm at my desk working hard, or at my desk collaborating with colleagues, or I need a break. I think that are the situations that they will refer to and measure us by. So what we have tried to do in this contract is to try to define some high-level touch points that we could start focusing on. And then based on those touch points, we can try to put ourselves in the end user situation and build service concepts for end user for that particular situation. Now, we have identified 9 key touch points in an end user normal working day. And we call that the end user working journey. Now, these range from, the journey range from arriving at work. Where do I park my car? How does the parking lot and the area that I walk into look? I entering the building, how is the reception, the security, is everything there? How am I experiencing it? Is it smooth? Is it taking care of my customers or my colleagues? I'm walking through the general area of the building, you know, the elevators and the general area, and I come to my workplace, and now I have to do some work. Is the workplace supporting me? Have I places to be focused? Have I places to be collaborative? Have I all the things that support me? And do I actually have to think about it, or are they just there? At some point during the day, I probably would like to have lunch or a break. If I'm in Sweden, I will have 9 breaks, drinking coffee every time. But what's important for me when I have my lunch? Do I go with a colleague? Do I have a lot of time? Do I have really short of time? Do I need to hurry up? And things like that is things we try to put ourselves in. After the lunch, maybe I go to a meeting. What's important for me then? What do I need to do that at the best, to be as efficient as possible? And so on until I'm leaving work. So this helps us to understand our end users' working day and their needs even better. And we can create great service moments that has a positive impact and help them to focus on their job, and thereby making sure that they are as efficient as possible. It's actually also an opportunity for us to be more efficient in our service delivery, as we can, if we look at these touch points, we can get the staff to take a more holistic view on our service and not just focus on their own responsibility. So what have our experience been from implementation of these touch points in the bank? Well, strategically and tactically, we include them in everything we do. We plan, we look upon them, we do the implementation and everything new innovation around these touch points. But when introducing touch point, you need to make it very operational, not only for the service staff, but also for the end users, actually. And we have successfully worked with a couple of tools to do that. For staff in operation, we are ensuring touchpoint focus through a new way of planning and coordinating our daily work. We call it the IFS board. And we use it throughout all our HQ buildings now in the Nordics. And it's more or less just a planning board, but the difference is that the service line teams, they continuously plan together and using the touch points as basis in their planning instead of service line focus. And it facilitates also the touch points view as well as it encourages cooperation between them and between the teams. And it really helps to focus on touch points and the end user in our daily and weekly short-time planning. To maximize the effect of the touch points, we also have changed the end user communication completely. All the services that we are providing are described and presented from a touch point view. And it's actually quite important that the end user speaks the same language because it increases the communication, and communication is what helps us understand what they really need to be efficient. And this has been vital to secure implementation in depth in our operations. I would like to close with a little, measuring satisfaction. What is operational efficiency? If that's what I want to achieve for the company that I'm supporting, how do I know that I'm achieving that? I have, of course, financial results. What was the results? I have the cost that we're costing them, but that isn't really sharp enough to actually measure how my end users, how efficient they are. And to be honest, I don't have a perfect measurement, but I'm very interested if someone in this audience later on have an idea how to perfectly measure end user efficiencies. Well, as said earlier, we think that if the end user are happy with their working environment and feels they have the right prerequisite to do their job well, they are probably efficient. And that leads me to think that we could reasonably well at least measure efficiency through end user satisfaction. That's the best I can come up with anyway. The main tool we use for measuring is, as many of you, the end user satisfaction survey. We base this questionnaire on the 9 touch points. So all questions are related to those touch points, furthermore connecting to end user centricity and touch points. We launch it 3 times a year, not only 1 time, but we never ask the same person more than 1 time a year. And this continuity and this closeness with them actually give us the possibility to analyze the result, create actions, and follow up on those actions quite rapidly. And it has been very efficient. Through analyze and action-based on these touch points, we have managed to increase the end user satisfaction in our contract from day 1, and we are keeping going up all the time. I know there's a roof somewhere that we have to manage, but so far it has been very good. Now I would like to finish up with just a really simple example from our headquarters in Norway, where the end user survey identified room for improvement in the area of entering the building. It was not very high score, and we also had a lot of complaints on the service mindedness of the staff. They didn't seem to have time to do the things that they were supposed to do. They didn't take well with the clients or the staff coming in, and also we had problems with events and things like that that just took up all time, and the reception couldn't function as normal. So these were all studied and analyzed, and we decided a couple of actions. First of all, we took away back office tasks that were actually done in the front office now. We revised the hiring profile, and we also coached all the existing staff in service mindedness. We changed a couple of the processes, especially for larger events. And then we increased the number of services in that reception based on comments in that survey. And sure enough, we managed to get results directly from those 2 consecutive measurements that we did. And this, I think, is one of the great things about this measurement and continuity, that you can actually analyze and do actions and get results in a very short time, so you can make sure that your actions you're doing are right. Good immediate feedback. Hopefully, I've given you some insight on how Touchpoints are used at our bank, and that we are making the end user the core business. Thank you.